intersection between universal design for learning and culturally responsive teaching. This is my colleague, Shanta Smith.
And what we're going to actually do for you is to demonstrate how you can start a day off in your classroom modeling these two concepts. So I'm going to ask everybody to please stand. Just stand up, and on the count of three, we're going to say this together. 1, 2, 3. This day has been given to me fresh and clear. I can either use it or throw it away. I promise that I will use this day to the fullest, realizing that it will never come back again. I realize that this is my life to use or throw away. You may be seated. 20 seconds moves very fast. Culturally responsive teaching is using the cultural norms, prior experiences, and learning performance styles of diverse students to make learning more appropriate and effective for them. But when we talk about making learning more appropriate and effective for them, sometimes you run into this thing called culture conflict. And culture conflict is simply when you, the instructor, have no idea of the students that you're teaching, and they have no idea who you are and what you're responsible for doing. So you want to make sure that you bridge that gap of culture conflict and have a better understanding of who 21st century learners are.
So this is a typical class makeup that we would see, and we are seeing collaborative learners, we're seeing self-directed learners, and we really believe that by incorporating the principles of universal design for learning and being aware of culturally responsive teaching, we can meet a greater percentage of those learners. Universal design for learning, luckily, was just covered, so we're not going to necessarily go into it deeply, but looking at the principles of providing multiple means of representation, multiple means of expression, and multiple means of engagement. Many of our students, they're in a classroom, and the playing field is not level. We're teaching to the middle, we're teaching to that average student who doesn't exist anymore, and we feel by really bridging the gap of these two important theoretical frameworks, we can level that playing field.
So we want to make sure the playing field is level, because if we don't, we have inequality. So you see just like a crack, like it's an earthquake, boom, something has happened in the classroom, because everything is not stable. Everything is not together. And when you use UDL and CRT, you create a cohesive, enjoyable, flexible environment where you can meet the needs of everyone in your classroom. And so in essence, you do have higher education for all, because you're meeting the needs of everyone. I'm not just looking at one particular group of students. I'm actually looking at all my students and making sure I'm doing what's in the best interest to meet the needs of each and every one of them. And we don't want to mind the gap.
Right, so when we talk about minding the gap, and it's interesting we both chose the same picture out of the millions of pictures out there, but really being aware that there is a gap and being aware of being culturally competent and addressing the barriers that might exist in your curriculum so that we're able to blend these two ideas
together. And once you see these two ideas come together, you're like, voila, I have an awesome classroom, I know my students know me, and I can utilize strategies and techniques that are beneficial to meet their needs. You remove yourself from the environment, because sometimes we get caught up in us, the instructor. But being culturally responsive in a universal design learning environment is not about us. It's about the students we're responsible for teaching, because we come together as one. And it's important that we come together as one, because when we come together as one, we are doing what is in the best interest of our children and meeting their needs on a continuous basis.
Another area that we really felt went with both CRT and UDL is talking about the hidden curriculum, because there's a hidden curriculum in both. And when we think about those beliefs and values and norms that students in the dominant culture, in the dominant learning population, we're really missing so many students. And being aware of that hidden curriculum and teaching to the margins and not teaching to the middle and just that average member of the dominant culture.
So it's important that we change this shift again, not focusing on just the students in this middle. We want to focus on everybody so they can become a beautiful sunflower and blossom and explore. When you see one sunflower, it's actually fully blossomed, because it's like, yeah, and then we have one that is coming into its phase of knowing who it is. So it lets us know that all of our students are at different stages of development. And if we work together, we will see them transform into these awesome human beings, and you'll be like, yeah, they've got it. I didn't
supports that are needed for some, but the enhancements that are needed for others.
And then we want to make sure at the front we're providing high expectations for everyone. Always keep that first and forefront in your mind. It's important for you to develop high expectations.
And basically these are our final recommendations. Separate the goal from the means. Be knowledgeable. Get to know your students about their cultural diversity.
And that's universal